Say you missed the proper exit where you should have sold but you didn't. Then what should you do now? Should you bite the bullet and still press the sell button? Or has that ship sailed and you should refrain from taking the right action, but too late? For Bitcoin, perhaps you didn't act on the blue flip in December 2021 and you held until now. Today price is 30k. Or Ethereum versus USD. Perhaps you didn't sell the blue flip in January at 3,800. Or perhaps you bought this quite clean breakout in March this year at 3,000. A valid entry. But then you didn't sell it when the trend turned back down at around the same level in the end of April. Today price is 2,000. Or Solana versus USD. Perhaps you didn't sell the blue flip in early January at 160 something. Now price is 53. Or Cardano ADA versus USD. Perhaps you didn't act on the blue flip in November at $2. Now price is 50 cents. I've answered this question 10 times this weekend from different members. It's a very relevant question and it has a quite clear answer actually. And AVAX, someone asked the question about the avalanche AVAX. Last blue flip was here at 77 in April, but he didn't have the tools or the process, so he didn't sell then. Now price is 31. Should he sell now? It's a very common situation. Maybe you simply didn't have a process yet back then. Maybe you turned last few weeks' crash into an opportunity to finally start studying and getting tools. And you now realize that the exits were pretty clear, but you didn't act on them back then simply because you didn't know it then. So what to do? Sell now or not? First, I can't tell you what to do. That would be financial advice and it's illegal for good reasons because I don't know your specific situation. I'm not your financial advisor. But I can tell you what I do in these general situations, because this happens to me too. Maybe I was distracted, or it's because my personal Bitcoin holdings I have through certificates, which is like ETP, ETF, traded here on Nasdaq Nordic. That has some advantages, but the huge disadvantage is that it's closed on weekends. So maybe I missed the exit for that reason, or maybe I just fuck for no reason at all. I'm human, it happens. So, in this situation, proper exit was 49k, price now is 30k. You should have sold, you didn't. Would I sell now? No, I would not. And the reason is that it's chasing. It's the same as chasing an entry. Let's back up the tape to spring 2021. Just a little over a year ago. Let's pretend we're there again. Everyone is bullish. You look back and you realize that the entry was clear as day. Large Online had flipped gold here at 8,000 something after the COVID dip in 2020. And price broke out of this symmetrical triangle. Clean break at 10,000 with the trend up. Buying there at 10k was as clean and high confidence entry as it can possibly get. But when you realize that price was already 50k and you realize you should have bought, should you buy then? When you realize it? Many of you have painfully learned the answer to that question. No, chasing after an entry that have long passed on much lower levels was not the right thing to do, as everyone learned shortly after. At 10k in July 2020, we didn't know how it would turn out. But if it had turned down on you, you could easily have gotten out. But if you buy right after a huge run-up, it's much harder to set clean stops, clean invalidations, and you have a much longer fall down before the trend would turn down again. You don't want to chase after an entry if you can avoid it. There are situations where you can't avoid it, and I have a whole specific tactic to handle that specific case in the course, but generally you try to avoid it. And the exit question today is the same, just the reverse. Chasing after a valid exit, which was at much higher levels months ago, usually isn't a good idea for the same reasons. Because the risk that you sell the bottom is then then much higher than if you sold at the correct exit according to your process of choice, which for me is this Larsen line. The whales manipulating the market, creating this Wyckoff style fake out here at 60-65k, they can buy back now at half the price. While if you bought at 60k and now sell at 30k, you're doing it the other way around. You need to be ahead of the game, not at the tail of it, or over long periods of time it won't end well. I have no idea what the market will do in this specific situation for Nasdaq, which seems to be dictating what Bitcoin will do next, which in turn dictates what those altcoins I showed you will do next. But I have bought here. So yeah, obviously I don't think it's the right move to sell here based on what we know at exactly this moment when I'm recording this video. If the situation changes, if this construction here doesn't hold, I'll cut that entry immediately and ruthlessly. Before we continue, I know some of you find this annoying, but I have to say it. If you want to get the Larsen line, go to www.ctolarsen.com and press here, course and indicator, and follow the instructions. There's a lot of scammers, guys, in the comments, on Twitter, everywhere. If you're unsure, email as it says here, or I have my personal email here on the bio page. Here you go. Don't reply to some WhatsApp guy and lose your money. Now, there are two important exceptions to what I said earlier. Number one, if you traded with money that you actually need, and it's only now after the crash, so you sort of come to your senses, then the answer is different. In that case, perhaps maybe at least set a hard stop loss. That means that if price drops again, then you cut it and take this money out from the trading arena forever and see it as a learning, because it's too difficult to stay cool and take the right decisions if your real life depends on how this casino is going. But you probably already know that. And number two, if the price and general chart is still around the same level as when the exit was triggered, then yes, then I do take the action late. Like if something flipped gold or blue on a Saturday and my trading market was closed, but on Monday morning it's similar, plus minus a couple of %. Yeah, then I do take the right action at the wrong time. Now let's zoom in and take a look at the markets. I still hold my entry. Let's move this line a little bit so we can see better. So I of course hope that this turns into a neat rectangle bottom here. Switch to little shorter time frames, maybe 6 hours. There's still hopes for that this was the capitulation, but we could also get a double bottom and bounce, or it doesn't bounce at all. And if this construction doesn't hold, I will cut my entries. I don't run the market. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsen out. Hej då!